Tony Felix Costa got a podium here at Portland, and you were talking about the fan response here, how this is a motorsport town. Overall, what are you going to be reflecting on when it comes to this race weekend and your performance and the team's performance?
Yeah, look, I'm super happy to be here. I didn't know what we were going to get, what we were going to get in terms of fans and the turnout and all that. Obviously, we've been racing in New York for a few years, and that's obviously an amazing city that I'm a fan of. But it's my first time in Portland, and to see everyone coming out like that was super awesome. And yeah, happy with the podium. As I said earlier in the press conference, I thought we had it, and we clearly didn't. So we're going to go back, have a look at what we did wrong, what we could have done better, and try and improve for the next one.
And when it comes to the team, of course, you're going for the championship overall, and then you got a teammate going for Pascal Wehrlein. Overall, does that add more pressure as sort of, okay, we're all in this together, or is we're just more, okay, just approach as we've done all season long?
No, I think at the moment we are thinking championship, especially for Pascal in the drivers and the team in the constructors, definitely. But obviously for me out there today, I prioritized the win over just points. I wanted big points today, so we took some risks on maneuvers and stuff. Some of the overtakes were a bit risky, but ultimately when you're racing clever guys and guys that respect you, then it's okay.
And when it came to the road course here, being a permanent road course, overall, we know it produced very different racing, pack racing, as most American fans would call it. Is this something you would see twice a year you think will be great for Formula E, or is it just something where, as long as we're coming to Portland, it should be just Portland that has this type of race? No,
so I think there's 3 tracks this year that were really energy biased, like Berlin, São Paulo, and now here in Portland. So yeah, it's look, for me, I always say if the fans enjoy watching it, then I have got no problems with it. But if the fans don't, then we need to do something about it, because for me, fans is the number one priority. We do need to give them a good show. So it's important for the series for us to take in that feedback, and then we'll make it better.
Thank you so much for your time, and have a good rest of the weekend.
Thank you. Cheers.
Lucas Grassi, welcome to Portland. We know you've been racing a long time here in Formula E. We had a very unique race with this pack racing. From your experience, how would you consider this race?
Yeah, it was actually a good weekend for us, with scoring 6 points, finishing P7 now with the last penalty. So I'm very happy. The team has improved in performance, and hopefully we can continue with this momentum for the next round.
And of course, the next round will be on the street courses. Here it was very wide. We saw a lot of 5 wide, even 4 wide, going to the backstretch. Was this something where qualifying wasn't too big of a concern? Now we go back to where qualifying is going to be very important for the Rome and London?
Yeah, well, the Costa started 17, finished 3rd.
I started 7th.
7th?
7th, only 7th, not team.
No?
No. Just 7th.
Yeah, it was Verline, it was Pascal that started 7th.
I take the credit, it's fine. You should not have corrected me.
So,
he said I started 17th.
I thought it was Pascal.
He just thinks I'm that good.
Yeah, that's true. He is. He's just Portuguese.
I'm not.
No, actually the qualifying becomes more important in Rome and London. But this is like a very extreme race, very different, and in qualifying matter, but not that much. Yes.
And last question, we know Portland is one of the more greener cities, electric cars, a lot of them here, and you have a long involvement with Formula E. Overall, we consider this like a big success because we had a sold-out crowd. The crowd was just cheering, and it just seemed like overall a big win for Formula E.
This impressed me a lot, that with the crowd was here and the fans and everybody was super excited with the race, and I really look forward to coming back here next season. And I think before maybe it was a bit of a doubt, is Portland's going to be good or not. Now we proved that the racing here was amazing and the crowd was great, so very happy to come back.
Lucas, thank you so much for your time, and have a great weekend.
Thank you very much.
Nick Cassidy, congratulations on your win. One of the questions I got to ask, in America there's a lot of pack racing where they're drafting, and a lot of times you don't want to be the leader on the start of the last lap. Was that a concern that went through your head as you're starting the last lap?
Yeah, I've watched enough Indy 500s. But by the time we got to the last lap, the pace of the race was fast enough that we could stay there and had enough energy, so it was good. But it was certainly hard to be leading today. The tow was quite important.
And one of the things we noticed, the first half of the race seemed like big pack. You know, we had 4 or 5 wide entering the Shelton chicane, but then we started seeing single file. And then what Marcus Ericsson I called the dragon, the weave-in. You mentioned the Indy 500. Is that something maybe you reached out and talked to folks about breaking the draft?
It depended on if you wanted to be keeping the lead or not. The first guy to kind of do it was Antonio when he got to the lead, and he was doing a big weave, and then I more or less copied him. It was important.
And now, championship, 2 more weekends, 4 more rounds. Does this make it to where, for you and the team, you change your approach with the last 2 race weekends, or just 1 weekend at a time as you've been all season long?
Yeah, just 1 weekend at a time. I just hope that we have a good Rome, and that keeps us in the game. I think that's the main thing.
Thank you so much for your time, and have a great weekend.
Thank you, man.
Big weekend here at Portland. We saw quite an entertaining race with this pack racing. What was your thoughts on this style of racing?
Yeah, very action-packed race for sure. That's what we expected going into this race, and yeah, I feel like we managed well, put ourselves in a good position with a few laps to go. Fortunately, I got pushed on the grass from my rival. This put me on the back foot. I lost quite a few places. Back to P9 with just a few laps to go. Had good pace, so then I was able to recover a few places. At the end, it was P6 with still good points. So yeah, all in all, good weekend for us.
Now, one thing we know, traditional slick tires, you go on the grass, sometimes you lose control. These tires have grooves. Does that change a little bit, or is it still just really tricky to control when you're on the grass unintentionally?
Grass is grass. It's still very, very slippery. That's the same no matter which tire.
And when it comes to now going back to the street courses, is that something where you feel like with the wins you got and everything, you're going to be potentially stronger for the team? Because this one just seemed like it really came down to energy management and where you were with the pack.
Yeah, I don't know yet about the details in terms of energy management for the next 2 racetracks. I expect it to be a bit more traditional and not as extreme as here with the energy side and the amount of energy saving. So yeah, obviously you always have to adapt to whatever rule set you get.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
Sébastien Buemi, we know you got quite a career in motorsports, Formula E. You were at the 24 Hours Le Mans. When it came to this pack racing we saw here in Portland, what do you thought of the experience?
I think it was something special. So now starting 18th and finishing 5th is obviously a strong result for me. Obviously, I would have hoped to start a bit further up the grid and would have potentially be slightly easier. But at the end, I'm obviously very happy with the points. I think Nick has done an amazing job winning the race. So yeah, just looking forward to the next race and hopefully being able to score more points.
And of course, with the next races being at Rome and then London, street circuits, is that something where for the teams it's sort of more, okay, our traditional approach compared to this weekend where it seemed with the way the track's very wide, the flowing corners, a very different approach?
Yeah, I think it's going to be totally different once we get to Rome. I think Jaguar in the past has proven that they were flying there, so I have very high hopes that we can do well there. Obviously, it's a bit early to say, but it's going to be totally different to here. And I feel like here we were not very good, but somehow in the race we put it together and we scored a lot of points, so I'm happy with that. But looking forward to Rome because I think it's going to suit the car better.
And last question, when it comes to Portland International Raceway, one of the things we know it has a lot of motorsports, and then to see the large crowd we had here, a sold-out crowd, how impressed were you to see the huge turnout?
Yeah, I was surprised to see so many people, obviously. I think it's been a pretty nice success, so I really enjoyed it. I hope we come back and can fight for more.
Thank you so much for your time. Jake, overall, pretty crazy race. What was your thoughts of how the race turned out for you?
At the moment, I don't really know what to think of what just happened. Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy style of racing. I mean, I hope that it's at least entertaining for fans, but in the cockpit, it's astonishing. Yeah, what happens. So I don't really know how to debrief it right now. But obviously, a very challenging race for us as a team. I think maybe just from a strategic point of view, we went about it in the wrong way, but. Yeah, when you have a race like that, it's either goes well for you or it doesn't, and you can be on one side of the coin or the other.
And one of the big things we know, McLaren, huge fan base, huge fan turnout today. Were you pretty impressed with the turnout here at Portland?
I was super impressed actually. I mean, I don't know what I was expecting really. I didn't have any preconceived idea, but even in the morning, you know, we were driving into the track at 8 a.m. and there was a huge queue outside. All the grandstands were full. Loads of fans in McLaren t-shirts and hats. It was lovely to see, honestly. So I just want to make sure I say that thankful for all the fans that turned out, especially our Neil McLaren guys, and hopefully next year we can put on a slightly better result.
And last question, we know overall when it comes to this pack racing, you know, you don't want to be exactly in the front, you're losing energy. Being mid-pack, is it still very challenging to get towards the front and try to save energy?
To be honest, it's actually surprisingly that you don't want to be in the middle. I think we've all been obsessed with not leading, not wanting to be at the front, but actually what I've realised in a race like that is that you can't be in the middle, because there's guys like Mitch and Jev that started towards the back and basically just saved energy for half the race and then were able to push through at the end. Or your guys that are like Antonio and Cassidy who really pushed forward at the beginning and made sure they had track position so that they could save energy in the middle of the race. But for us, we prioritised saving energy. We went back to the middle of the pack. But in the end, you end up spending energy just to make sure you don't go to last, and then you'd never really get you never really get to the front for the energy that you're spending, and you equally don't save energy because you're not on the back. So it's like you're in the middle, in no man's land, really.
Jake, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Sérgio, Cameron, overall, race is now in the books. It was quite an entertaining race for a lot of the fans here. What do you thought of this, what a lot of fans call pack racing?
Yeah, I think it's going to become a fashion now in Formula E. As a driver, I mean, if it is good for the sport, then fair enough. If people are finding it entertaining, fair enough. But it's not. We're not racing out there. It's more of it's a different thing. Maybe it's just a matter of getting used to it and finding the positive things about it. But it just feels like some artificial kind of racing. The overtakes are not really over. You cannot have a race where you overtake 5 guys in one straight. You know, for me, this is not very natural. It's become more of a game show than a race. But it's not that bad in other races. It was more the case here in Portland. I think in Rome and London it will be more of a natural racing. I've enjoyed my trip here to the US. I've really liked Portland as a city. I'd like to see that also the grandstands were full. There were a lot of people around, and I'm looking forward to come back here next year.
And overall, when it comes to the racing, as you mentioned, it just felt unnatural. Overall, do you think it's something where maybe like a couple of chicanes, or is it just because this is a road course compared to a street course?
I think they try to add too many laps to the race. This makes our energy target too low, and then drivers have to save so much energy, and then this causes this peloton effect. Another issue as well, I think the way the car was designed, there's too much drag. So the advantage you have from driving behind another car is way too big. So they should design a car which the advantage from driving behind the other one is not that much, and then that would not incentivize this peloton style racing. So it's a bit of both, two things.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching us right here on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos, including Life on the Grid, where we interview folks from the motorsports industry. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.